Countdown. Hey, how are you today? I was not going to do a video this morning, because it's the day before Halloween, and I was going to go and watch one of my DVDs. I'll tell you what I was going to watch. I was going to watch House of Dark Shadows from 1970, not the Johnny Depp 2012 movie Dark Shadows, although it deals with the same character of Barnabas Collins, the vampire, and all that. Anyway, I highly recommend House of Dark Shadows, and I highly recommend the original TV show from which it came from. Much better than the Johnny Depp 2012 version of it. But then again, I'm a 52-year-old old fart, so what do I know? Other than to talk, speaking of Halloween, let's talk about some politics, shan't we? Tulsi Gabbard. You remember Tulsi Gabbard? We talk quite a bit about Tulsi Gabbard on this program, on this broadcast here in the last year and a half. You've known my past opinions on Tulsi Gabbard, and those past opinions I had of her, let's just say that the current opinion I have of her is not very positive compared to my past opinions of her. We know how she came into being. Basically, when she got elected in 2012, and everybody was like, she was not a progressive. She wasn't exactly a corporate Democrat either. She was a standard Democrat. Many people saw her as an heir apparent to Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton. That's how people were viewing her. She had what looked like a very promising future as an establishment Democrat. And she would have been very uneventful from my perspective, except that she did something very awesome in 2016, and that was to expose to the United States and everyone what the Democratic National Committee were doing against Bernie Sanders. And that was to cheat him out of the Democratic nomination. He was cheated not once, but twice. But she came into national prominence for exposing what the Democratic National Committee were doing against him in 2016. And one can say that in 2016, she was the AOC of that election. She was the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of 2016, whereas in 2020, AOC was the official campaign surrogate for Bernie Sanders. Tulsi Gabbard was in 2016, also Bernie Sanders. After the whole stealing took place, cheating Bernie Sanders out of the nomination, and Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump facing each other, and eventually, Donald Trump won the election, and you know how that turned out. In 2019, she announced her candidacy to run for the presidency, and there was like about 19, 20 other candidates in the Democratic primary. Very, very heavy representation of various Democrats in the 2020 primaries. And the media were against her from day one. I mean, and it's understandable. They lean toward establishment Democrats. They hated Bernie Sanders, and they're going to hate anybody that's going to be orbiting around Bernie Sanders. So she was a target. She was also a target of Hillary Clinton, and still, and even though I can't stand Tulsi Gabbard today, I'm still glad that she went and attempted to sue Hillary Clinton for $50 million. My only problem with it is she dropped the damn lawsuit. She needed to bring Hillary Clinton down. unfortunately, half the progressive movement. Well, I'm not going to say unfortunately, because in hindsight, maybe that half of the progressive movement might have been correct all along. But I was part of the other half. I was for Bernie in 2020, as I was in 2016, but I had a lot of sympathies for Tulsi Gabbard in 2020. I wanted her to be Bernie Sanders' running mate. And I do think that when she entered the race in 2019, 2020, she kind of entered it as an attack dog, so to speak, for Bernie Sanders. I mean, it was awesome seeing her destroy Kamala Harris's campaign very early on. So I think that was her intention all along. She wanted to be a VP, or she wanted to be Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State. She saw Bernie Sanders as her gravy train in 2016, and she felt like she could do it again, even as a presidential candidate. Being defending him, unofficially, and then getting behind Bernie Sanders when push came to shove. That was her intention. And the thing about it is that I remember defending her. Well, all the allegations against her. All the allegations. She's an Islamophobe. She's a Russian asset. She's alt-right. La 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 la. All kinds of stuff. She's secretly working for Trump. All kinds of allegations I've heard about her. She's a homophobe. All these things I've heard. And, just kind of like, and that was a time when even the neoconservatives that were kind of lingering around looking for era of respectability, the never Trumper Republicans, they took their time to go and shit on her too. So I mean, I'm just like, well, she can't be all that bad if she's having all these people hating her. But I am going to admit that whenever I'm wrong, I'm not going to go and be like try to save face. I'm going to admit that I was wrong. I was wrong to defend Tulsi Gabbard. I just want to make that abundantly clear. And I started to see the subtle grift as the COVID hit in the year 2020. And all the great legislation she was coming up with as a member of Congress for all these years, all of a sudden, that was not as emphasized anymore. And she was actually, she was talking about things that even Bernie Sanders wouldn't talk about, like pardoning Julian Assange, pardoning Ed Snowden. And even Bernie Sanders was not talking about that. Then all of a sudden, she decided to drop out of the race and endorse Joe Biden. That was a slap to Bernie Sanders' face. Honestly, that was a slap. I think that even in hindsight, he should have been a little bit more upfront and defended her better than he did. But at the same time, that was just a slap to Bernie Sanders' face. That didn't need to happen. Also, as the year went on by, the campaign year, she started to get an affectionate base of people on the right liking her. And all of a sudden, she was kind of perceived as the good Democrat by a lot of right-wingers. And even though in a lot of ways she was campaigning, she might have been the second most left-wing candidate in the 2020 primary, second to Bernie. For some weird reason, the right wing had an affection for her. And she caught on to that. And I think that maybe this is not entirely her fault, her grift. Her grift might have been because people on the right were giving her that affection, and she felt like she was treated terribly by the Democratic Party, which she was, and all of that. But the thing about it is that she was going to grift. She could have had a better, more meaningful sound base by grifting toward the radical left instead of drifting toward these clowns, these right wing clowns. They're loving her these days. But I guess she figured it was a little more lucrative financially speaking, or what have you, and so she decided to go for the gusto, and as she was exiting out of Congress, she decided to co-sponsor anti-trans legislations to ban transgender women from sports in the schools, and and that was just really, really odd, But then she'll be making these appearances on Fox and almost references toward. She'll be saying things that she's a Hindu woman, but she'll be saying things like God in the sense that she's trying to appeal to what it looks like an evangelical base that will go and watch Fox News, and then she'll be kind of tinkering on issues like abortion or whatever. I mean, it's just little things I have noticed about her. She doesn't outrightly say it, but she hints at it. She insinuate things that tells you she's going into that direction, and then all of a sudden Tucker Carlson, and I'm not even mad at Tucker Carlson in this situation, but she got on Tucker Carlson about maybe about a month and a half ago or something. That's how long I've been kind of mad at her, really mad at her, and decided to wash my hands of this woman. When she basically kind of started talking about leaving Afghanistan and started talking like George W. Bush and Dick Cheney were talking in the year 2002. Islamists, the war on terror, the fight to preserve Western civilization. Those kind of references and themes that people were talking about in 2002. She was talking about this, and then she got on Sean Hannity recently, this past week, and hold tight, and I'll show you. Give me a second here. Excuse me, I'm burping. I just ate something earlier. Hold on. All right. Give me a moment here, and let's do this. Okay. And I have some words to share afterwards. Hold tight.
Congresswoman from Hawaii, Tulsi Gabbard. Here with more former Democratic Congresswoman from Hawaii, Tulsi Gabbard. Welcome back. I looked at your comments. Your friends, both Manchin and Senator Sinema. You've had conversations, as I understand it, with Senator Sinema. What does she say?
I've known Kyrsten Sinema for many years, and she is not one to sway to political pressure. She does her research, and she will stick to doing what she believes is right. You can agree with it or disagree with it, but I think that those who know her know that to be true. The most important thing as we look at what's happening now here across the country, Sean, is that we have real leaders leading our country. And to me, real leaders means those who are putting the interests of the American people ahead of any political interest, putting the interests of the country ahead of their own partisan power or ambition. And that's what bothers me so much about what we're seeing with the Democratic Party now, is that instead of doing that, instead of putting the interests of the American people first, we see them pushing their own selfish interests, the interests of the powerful elite. And instead of truly serving the American people, even worse, they are treating us as though we're the enemy. If you disagree with the Democratic Party, you're called a racist. If you disagree, you're called a Russian asset. If you're a concerned parent who wants to be involved in your child's education, you're targeted by the Department of Justice as a domestic terrorist. Unfortunately, you could go on and on with these different examples that really just show how destructive this leadership actually is.
Well, let me assess the Biden presidency. Look, for example, I can't believe we abandoned Americans still in Afghanistan. That shocks my soul and my conscience. I can't believe that Joe Biden, is allowing the disaster at the border to happen. He's facilitating that. I can't believe he removed America from energy independence. I can't believe we have more people dead from COVID in 2021 than 2020. He was handed 3 vaccines and monoclonal antibodies. I can't believe inflation is through the roof. I can't believe the supply chain mess. I can't believe China's aggression, Iran's aggression, North Korea's aggression, Putin's aggression. Is there anything you can point to that you could say, wow, that's really working? Because I can't.
Well, I think you're pointing to so many of the really serious challenges that the American people face. You mentioned Afghanistan. That one hits close to home, of course, and we have to remember there are still Americans who are still stuck in Afghanistan now, even though they may not be in the headlines every day. And this is where the American people deserve that kind of real leadership, where they can trust, hey, those in positions of power in our government are actually going to look out for us. But it's not surprising that as we sit here, the American people wonder, how can I trust my government when my government sees me as the enemy? Without this faith and trust that we have leaders who are actually working to solve our problems, the everyday serious problems, you listed many of them that the American people are facing all across the country, then what are we left with?
Let me ask you a question. I don't remember as distinctly, especially when you were running in the primary, I don't remember you standing out this much from the crowd. Did I just miss it, or have
yes.
you? That's a fair answer, because
I've called it straight, Sean, and I've had a couple of conversations. I've called it straight, whether it was with the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. If there are things that I agree with based on substance, not partisan politics, but substance, I will say so and take action based on what I believe is in the best interest of the country. And if I think that there's a direction that's wrong, I'll stand up and speak out against it.
Then it's obviously a passion you have. Do you have a planned future? Do you have any thoughts about running in the future?
There are many ways to serve my sole focus, whether it's in office or out of office, wherever I go or wherever I end up, my commitment of my life is to serve the American people and defend our Constitution and our freedom.
Well, we share a common purpose, because that's what I believe in. Liberty, freedom, capitalism, our Constitution, and this is the greatest country, the greatest wealth-creating system on earth, and we have a lot of problems to fix. Thank you, Tulsi Gabbard. Thanks for being with us. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey.
Yeah, Sean Hannity, one of the dumbest people you can imagine on TV. Honestly, one of the dumbest people. Well, she's talking about, she decides to humor Sean Hannity with the good old-fashioned trashing of Democrats. And I will say what I've always said many times. When it comes to the two-party system, I trash the Democrats and I trash the Republicans, because both Republicans and Democrats elected Republicans, as a general rule, are trash. Ordinary people who have the misfortune of belonging to either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, not so much. I'm not going to hold that against anybody who has the misfortune of trying to choose between the two. I'm just going to say, listen, don't just get a second opinion, get a 20-second opinion. Always. This is my personal message to the Democrats and Republicans who are not running for office. When you go to the ballot box, if there is a third-party choice and you can't stand the two choices of the two dominant parties, you can always do the protest vote. Try to break the two-party system if you can. Just saying. But she was talking about, people who criticize the Democrats are being called racist and what have you. Maybe that's fair, but you know what? What about Republicans? What do they like to call Democrats? And anybody who's not a Republican, they like to call them baby killers, pedophiles, terrorist lovers. They like to call them socialist communists. That's Republican speak. And they were talking about Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema, as if Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema are somehow victims. I doubt that they're victims, but suffice to say, Tulsi, your former boss, so to speak, in 2016, the guy you were campaigning for. You're talking about, harassment of these Democrats and what have you, and all that. Do you remember what happened to your boss? Well, hold tight here. Do you remember this? Because I remember this pretty well from a while back. This is before you ran for president. This is not a Democrat doing, picking on a person. This is somebody who's probably more reprehensible than Sean Hannity. I'm talking about Alex Jones.
Well, they didn't know Bernie Sanders.
Dude, no, come on, not right now. No, Senator.
Why'd you say white people didn't know what it's like before? You guys are flying first class, are you? Why's he running? Anyways, you guys flying first class, you shouldn't be.
I got a coach ticket in my pocket.
We don't need that Venezuela. I like $100,000 Army. I'm gonna walk this way.
Don't touch me.
Oh, you just hit me, bro.
You put your hand out,
Or
Alex.
you're gonna do that socialist thing where you're like bumping the people and say that?
Alex, I'm walking back.
Hey, Bernie. Bernie, why are you running, bro? There we go. Carl Rubin run like this. He would talk to me.
I'll talk to you. You want to have a conversation?
Well, he said white people don't know what it's like before. This is white people there for.
Why? Because you're following. What?
He said white people don't know what it's like before. I thought it was really racist. Look right there. Bernie, why'd you say white people don't know what it's like before?
Don't touch me. Alex, don't touch me.
Ooh.
Don't touch me, Alex.
You guys have fun. You gotta be around the general public, huh? It's kind of a bad thing. You're in the proletariat like that when you're a ruling class commie? Huh? You guys have fun.
You're having fun. We're all having fun, aren't we?
We're gonna win. Don't worry. America's coming back. America's coming back. We'll win. Have a good one. Mr. Sanders, why do you think socialism works better than capitalism? Why do you live in a capitalist country? I don't know why you're running from me. Where are you flying today?
You gonna apologize to the Sandy Hook families, Alex?
Well, that's the media misrepresents that. That's that. You apologize for all the wars you guys launched, Democrats? All the millions you killed?
Do you enjoy living in your $1 million vacation houses, Bernie, or do you want to give those to the poor?
Yeah, your $100,000 Audis? Anyway, Anyways, you guys have fun. You're not reporting all that money. You guys run a little PR stuff. It's not gonna work.
Have fun, you know.
Okay. Well. The thing about it is, Tulsi, what are you going to say about that? You know, I mean, you have anything to say? You know, I mean, Alex Jones is not a Democrat. You know, I mean, but I guess it's, you know, you're sore at Bernie Sanders. I get it. You're sore at Bernie Sanders or what have you. If anybody ought to be sore, it'd be sore at you for not supporting Bernie Sanders. You know, now that you're a useful idiot for the right, I can say it right now. I mean, Tulsi, and I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. The only thing you're good for is porn. That is the only thing. You're meant to be a porn star. That's all I got to say about you at this point. You're not meant for politics. Porn is more fitting for you. But anyway, Afghanistan, she campaigned about pulling out of Afghanistan, pulling out of these regime change wars, and she started to grift. And so she went from being an Abby Martin wannabe, now she turned into Liz Cheney. And, this kind of grifting that goes on, and people sit there and tell me on the right that some of the politicians that I like and some of the media people that I listen to are grifters. What the fuck is that? That was grifting right there. From being anti-war and then sounding like Liz Cheney on foreign policy. And, and Sean Hannity not noticing the drama that went on in 2020 primaries. I believe he's not that bright, by the way. I believe he's not that bright. But here's the thing. Tulsi Gabbard, you owe the left an apology. You owe the left an apology for your grifting, for your lying, for your deception. You are a fraud. You are a fraud. And I have to sit there and eat crow because I defended your ass. It was a pretty looking ass, but I defended your ass. But now, I see for everything that you are. And you're wanting a job on Fox News. I used to sit there and say, that's not true to some of these people that went after her and everything. And I still think that the reasons that some of these people were after Tulsi Gabbard in a negative way, they were still after her for the wrong reasons, because a lot of them, they thought she was the real thing, like the second most left-wing candidate to Bernie Sanders, second to Bernie Sanders. But no. She's worse than John Delaney, who was, I consider, one of the worst Democrats running in the 2020 primaries. She's worse than Joe Biden. She's worse than Pete Buttigieg. She's worse than all of them. Amy Klobuchar. Even Amy Klobuchar is a better person than she is. That says a lot. And, the thing about it, is that as I said, I hate the fact that I felt lied to. And I just wanted to get this out because I want people to recognize, that the left needs to call her out for what she's done. And, as I said, I wash my hands of Tulsi Gabbard. Totally wash my hands of her. I'm wearing this Bernie button because this is what, if she had any integrity, she should have gotten behind Bernie in 2020 instead of trying to be the center of attention. She burned her own bridges, but she may have a bunch of new friends, with people like Dave Rubin and all of that. Go ahead, go on Blaze TV. Yeah, fuck you, Tulsi Gabbard, fuck you. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree, comment anyway. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As the First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. hit that notification bell, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, I am American Social Democracy. Peace. And I will have a nice little chat with people on the chat line momentarily. But I leave with y'all a little bit of music. And, well, happy Halloween to you all. Hold tight. I have to stop saying hold tight here, but here. All right. On the chat line, I am McLovin. Do you think if Bernie got the nod, he'd pass more fight to get progressive policies passed? I think if Bernie Sanders would have gotten the nomination and became president, I think we'd have been seeing a real-life replay of the British novel, A Very British Coup by Christopher Mullins from 1981. A Very British Coup was about a theoretical radical Labour government in the UK getting elected, defeating Margaret Thatcher in the fictional year 1989. Prime Minister Harry Perkins, I think that was his name. Yeah, Harry Perkins was being undermined by the Tories, being undermined by the military-industrial complex of the UK, by the media, by even by sellouts within the party itself. And that's what the movie's about. They were trying to destroy the Prime Minister Perkins' government. I think that's what would have happened to Bernie. They would have been trying to destroy Bernie Sanders. It would have been the CIA, the military-industrial complex. It would have been the neocons, and it would have been corporate Democrats all working together to bring him down. That's what I think would have happened. So, be it as it may. Now, Michael Blaney asked, or he was asking, what I'm saying. He was stating that Alex Jones is a jackass. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Tulsi is no Abby Martin. Yeah. And that's the thing right there. I'm having to admit that now. She's sure as hell not Abby Martin now. And she, I mean, her husband, Mark Preissner, disrupted George W. Bush event a while back. It was beautiful seeing George W. Bush's day getting ruined. But anyway. All right. Well, I am going to.
I think we're unique because now it's.
Oh. Okay. I am going to part ways right now because I work graveyard shift and I need to get some sleep. And gosh, I want to look really pasty in this video. Looking at my picture, I'm like, gosh, a lot of light. I'm sorry that there is no. Well, regulated capitalism. If deregulated capitalism can become social democracy or socialism, and I don't mean just a few more unions around and single payer health care. I mean, it's a good start, but I think that things need to seriously be looked at, like nationalizing the oil companies here in the United States. I think that's and we should just go beyond Medicare for all. Medicare for all should be the short-term goal, and the long-term goal, it should be a national health service like they have in Great Britain. That's what I would favor. Well, the German system, you're talking about the German economy or German healthcare system when you say more like Germany? Because, I mean, they do have a great setup right now in comparison to what we have here. I mean, they do. I mean, they have high wage system there, a lot of unions, and standard of living compared to here is pretty high. As the healthcare system, I am partial to the British system more than any other system in the world. It's the most socialized medical system in the world, in the capitalist free world, or, well, you know what I mean. It's the most socialized medical system in the Western world, what they have in the UK, and I will favor that here. I think there's a few other countries. I think New Zealand has something similar, Portugal, Italy. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The British medical system for damn sure. Um, but as I said, even just being like modest old Canada up north would be a great start. Canada without the silly current prime minister. I just can't look at at Justin Trudeau and take him seriously. I just laugh at him. But look what we have now as president, Joe Biden. Look what we have for the last 4 years, Donald Trump. If that's not anything to laugh at, I don't know what is. So it's too bad we couldn't have a real serious president like Bernie Sanders, a second FDR, or a Eugene Debs and Norman Thomas that we never quite had. So, anyway, I am going to sign off right now, and I will see you all on the other side. Bye-bye.